I think the Hidden series asks us to stop thinking of Footscray as a thing that exists now. So it says it's not just now, it's got a history, it's got a story to tell. For thousands and thousands of years, it was fairly unchanging perhaps, but in the past 150 to 200 years, it's been cycle after cycle of rapid change. And that's speeding up even more so now. We look at the development around here. We're likely to override, cancel, wipe out so many of the stories of this place before we've even recognized what they are. Projects like this force us to stop and look at where we are, look at where we've been, and make sure that we hang on to the interesting, exciting, the scary, the good and the bad bits, so that we don't forget and we don't end up in that eternal nowness where all there is the present moment. As a writer, I'm always interested in stories. It's that old maxim about write about what you know. And this has shown me that I don't know Footscray as well as I thought I might. And so, like that story of the creek that's now a sewer, that's fantastic. And so I want to find out more about those stories and more about the swamp that used to be down the street. I want to look into people's back gardens and see what's growing there. So it's made me think more about getting to know this place as a way of generating stories and generating ideas. The more inured you become to it. So you have the little same tracks to the same shops and the same cafes you do every day. You don't really see things anymore in the way that you might see a foreign city for the first time. So in many ways, the people who live in a place can often be the people who know it least, because they take everything for granted in the same way as you don't look at your family members every day and go, wow, you're fantastic. They're just there. Footscray is just there for so many of us. This is the kind of thing that will perhaps cause us to stop and go, wow, this is interesting. This has stories, has a history, has darkness and light. So in that way, it's a great way to wake up those of us who perhaps take it for granted. I'd be really interested in seeing a hidden Indigenous project that focused on what of our Indigenous past can we find and uncover around here. I just want to keep digging. The artists have looked under things, like literally under the road surface, and through chinks in fences, and I've looked behind doors, and I've tried to pull down that nowness and make us realize, there's thousands and thousands of years history here. So it's made me see Footscray not just as it is now, but as a place that's constantly in change. I've lived in the West since I was a kid, came here as a migrant in the late 70s and grew up in Braybrook, Sunshine, St Albans, around that way, and I've worked in the West for most of my life, so it's home to me. It's where I've been for most of my life.